The German Chancellor Friedrich Merz was on Fox News, and in my opinion, as a German psychologist, even if there's a lot about Merz which could be criticized, he did a really great job navigating around some traps and communicated in a very, very well spoken and very effective way. And if you would like to improve your personal communication, if you would like to understand the German perspective a little bit better, then be welcome to this video. Today we are analyzing and reacting to the video where Friedrich Merz is interviewed by the host of Fox News here. So let's jump into the video and let's understand what is happening here.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz joining us now in studio.
Something which could be also quite nice here is that he takes the time to go to American press, because he also takes a lot of risks, you know, because if you're at Fox News, it can't be that they would like to bring you in an uncomfortable situation, but he is courageous enough to do that here, and he goes to Fox News. And I think that is also, from the PR perspective, very smart that he's proactively using media to make some important statements here. So that is also something which I found very well thought through from him and very well done. And now we see how he has performed here.
Washington, and welcome to the program. A lot to get to. Thank you for making the time, fresh off the heels of a big meeting at the Oval Office. I want to get to what Ed just mentioned here and the news of the day. I'm sure that you've been briefed by now on this public spat that the president is having currently with Elon Musk. And I bring it up because Musk just criticized the Trump tariffs, which are being criticized by many countries around the world right now. And he said this: the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. What's your response on his assessment?
Well, this is...
So, that could already be a trap, because it's a domestic topic of the United States and a very controversial topic. And Merz now could risk the relationship he already built, or the respect he would like to build, by giving some thoughts or maybe some unqualified statements to a domestic issue in the United States. And now we will see how he responds to that in a very diplomatic and I think very statesman-like way.
This is a domestic debate in the US. I don't want to comment on that, but these tariffs are, in our view, something which is really threatening our economy, and we are looking for ways to bring them down. And our conviction is that free trade, open markets is the best thing for mutual wealth of our countries and of our continent. So this is an issue which has to be negotiated between the American government and the European Commission. We are part of Europe, so we are in the discussion. But I have my view on that. We should bring them down.
That is very brilliant. First, he's very precise. He makes a statement, okay, that is a domestic topic, I wouldn't involve myself, I wouldn't comment on that. Then he says, like, from our point of view, for us, these tariffs are an issue. And then he also makes like a general thing, and we think like free trade is something where everybody prospers from. And it's very well done in my point of view, because he's not involving himself in the drama, and simultaneously he makes a very important point and is leading to an economic fact which is relevant for all of it. So I think that was already very well done from him.
One more question on Elon Musk, because he really does have a global footprint, and he gets his hands into a lot of different things, including elections like yours in Germany. He very much supported publicly this far-right AfD party, which Germany just labeled as an extremist political group. And it got some criticism from Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I imagine you're not going to tweet at Elon Musk or any of the two other gentlemen, but what would you say to him?
Well, the message is clear. Germany.
Also, here it could also be a trap again. Also some framing, because the lady said, okay, Germany labeled the party or the opposition as extremist. But it was not Germany. It was some agency in Germany which is called the Verfassungsschutz. Maybe to give you some background, in Germany it was the BND, which is the Bundesnachrichtendienst, like the Federal Intelligence Service, and it's outside Secret Service of Germany, and then the Verfassungsschutz, which is the inside Secret Service. If you translate Verfassungsschutz word by word, it means like protection of the Constitution. They did some analysis, and they found that the positions of the AfD often could be referred to be very extremist and far right. Like, depending who you ask, also that is a controversial topic in Germany, because like especially people which are more far right don't think like, okay, this kind of statement by the Verfassungsschutz wasn't carried out that perfectly, and the other side says, okay, we already knew it for a very long time, but a lot of what AfD is doing and saying is very radical. And a lot of people are very worried about the AfD. Why are they getting such kind of support in the population? And there are like a lot of explanations to it. First, they are very strong in social media. They're also very well in propaganda. And simultaneously, there might also be some issues where people not feel heard by the other parties. Then they go to somebody who at least present them that they try to listen to them. So that is one of the reasons why the AfD might be bigger, also because, like I said, they're very much into social media, like a lot of other parties lagging behind. Maybe the left party of Germany is still like also quite already present on social media, especially on TikTok. They give the people the feeling that some of the issues the other parties wouldn't like to acknowledge are heard by them, so that might be a reason why they are so big. It's a complex topic on its own, but maybe just that in a short form. Friedrich Merz is giving here a very good statement where he underlines the democratic foundation of Germany, and we will see how he deals with this question, which is also quite critical and could also bring a politician which is not really reacting to it in a clever way in an uncomfortable situation.
Is an adult democracy. We owe the Americans a lot after Second World War, but in the meantime we have proved that more than 75 years we are a very stable democracy. We have free speech, everybody can stand for parliament, so we don't need any lectures from outside. We are doing our own things.
First, he thanks again the Americans, like showing this kind of appreciation and also showing the common history, common roots, somehow also democratic roots. And simultaneously, he also declares the fact that Germany is already very democratic, maybe one of the best functioning democracies in the world right now. And he's also stating the fact that essentially there is free speech and there is also a lot of freedoms in Germany, and making the statement that Germany in the state where it's right now does not need some statements from outside of Germany doing this kind of critique, which might be a little bit over the top.
This is what Marco Rubio said on X not too long ago. He said Germany just gave its spy agency new powers to surveil the opposition. That's not democracy. It's tyranny in disguise. Did you get a chance today to speak with the secretary or even the vice president about this?
Surprisingly enough, we didn't talk about that.
Okay.
Anyway, in any respect. So this was not an issue for us, and I think this is now behind us. And this party is a special party. They are in parliament. They are the biggest opposition party. We deal with them. We do our work as a government, and we have our discussions in parliament, and that's it.
There's a lot of issues that are very similar that are happening here in the United States that are happening also in Germany, and that includes anti-Semitism. There is a new report out that shows that anti-Semitic incidents are actually up in Germany. I think they doubled in 2024. What are you doing to combat anti-Semitism at home?
Well, this is especially for Germany a terrible challenge, that we are faced with such an amount of cases of anti-Semitism in Germany. We are doing everything what we can to bring these numbers down. We are prosecuting those who are against the law, and frankly, we have a sort of imported anti-Semitism with this big numbers of migrants we have within the last 10 years, and we have to tackle this, and we have to resolve this problem. And I would like to make it very clear that the German government and the vast majority of the German parliament is strictly against these anti-Semitism and against these people, and we are doing everything what we can to bring these numbers down.
So a very strong and somehow also bold statement of Friedrich Merz here, because not everybody in Germany, especially not on the left spectrum of the politicians, will like this kind of statement. It would be quite controversial in Germany, depending on who you ask. Still, leaving out the political side here, on the communication side, that is very clever, because he says essentially, okay, anti-Semitism is an issue, we know this issue, we are working to deal with this issue. We are also persecuting people which are against the law, which is also like an important statement here, like not persecuting everybody, but people who are against the law. And simultaneously, he says this issue, or the rise of this issue, is partially also imported. Like, we could discuss about the political facts and what is happening here, but I would leave out that just on the communication side, we can say, okay, he even like puts the responsibility of the rising issue not to the like basic German population, but also to like the migration as a cause of increasing the share of people which might, because of their own origin and own experiences, might be more prone to anti-Semitism than the original German population. Not everybody in Germany would like this kind of statement, and especially the left-leaning side, I think, would disagree. And simultaneously, maybe the center and right part would say, okay, yes, there are issues which are also linked to migration, especially if migration is not working well, if people are not really integrated, and if also like the information spread or propaganda is not really kept in check. And from the communication side, it's quite smart from him here to directly address this issue and make it a shared problem again.
You have been pretty tough on immigration, illegal immigration, and you share that with the president in terms of the courts trying to impede your agenda, your policy, I think just this week on asylum seekers. Did you have any advice for the president on that?
No, if I had one, I wouldn't do that publicly, but we have our own challenges in our countries, and
that is also very smart. Like, again, the host is bringing him in a situation where he could risk a relationship, or where he could say something or make a statement which could be like uncomfortable for him later. And he is very statesman-like, you know, if I would have an advice, I wouldn't do it publicly but personal, and that is also a very professional way to deal with it here. Also what he follows, then it's like a very professional way how to deal with a question, stating they have like their own issues and their own approaches, underlining national sovereignty here, that they don't involve into other people's matters.
We are changing the migration policy actually in Germany. We had the second decision of our government yesterday in Germany, and we are doing more on that to bring these very high numbers of migrants, illegal migration, down, and we are succeeding. The numbers are going down, but we are not just at the end of our efforts.
I want to also get to Russia and the war on Ukraine and the fact that we still don't have anywhere close to a peace agreement or a ceasefire agreement. President Putin apparently told President Trump yesterday in a call that he would respond to this surprise Ukrainian drone attack that I think was a surprise for you as well. Axios is reporting that the president called this attack, quote, strong and, quote, badass. Do you agree with him?
Well, the country, Ukraine, is the victim of a very hard aggression, and this aggression is coming.
And here also, that is also quite smart. Now he uses, again, seeing from the communication or from the politics, the opportunity to make his position and the position of the German government quite clear, that Ukraine is the country which is attacked, and the country should deserve all support which is necessary to keep peace. And now he makes a statement which for a very long time Germany under the former government hasn't been that clear about its position, and now Germany here under Friedrich Merz and his government is taking a clear lead in the direction of support of Ukraine, and he also uses this opportunity here to make his position very clear. Who's the aggressor, who's the country who's defended, and what is necessary to end this war from his perspective. So that is also very well done. The media used the opportunity to make it very clear what the position of Germany under his rule is.
From Russia only, and Russia has it in his own hands to stop this war immediately. They could stop it overnight. So, and that's the reason why I asked the president to go along with us, to put more pressure on this government, on Putin, to come to an end with this terrible war. I was a little bit more optimistic a couple of weeks ago when the first diplomatic initiatives were more or less successful. In the meantime, it's extremely complicated to bring the Russians to the table. That's the reason why I asked the president to do more on Russia and to put pressure on Russia. You know that there is a bill in the Senate drafted on more sanctions. Just had a debate, discussion with some colleagues from the Senate. So I very much hope that we will go along and that we will do the same. And the same has one goal: bring this terrible war to an end.
But does it complicate?
It's also like very smart here that he refers to the Senate and refers to potential other steps which could be taken, and he also shows that there is like a shared goal of ending the war. But America also has the chance to have a huge influence here on how fast and how the war is ending.
Peace talks, if our president, President Trump, is calling these attacks, these words, strong.
Well, my personal view is very clear and very simple. Only strength brings peace. And if you are weak, you invite aggression. So Ukraine has to be strong. And that's the reason why we are giving support, militarily, financially, politically, for itself. And this is something we would like to be continued as long as necessary. But again, our common goal is to bring this terrible war to an end.
The president often likes...
He's not beating around the bush. He makes it extremely clear and easy to understand why Germany or why the German government has this kind of position and what is necessary based on this kind of position.
To say that this war would have never happened had he been in the White House. Do you agree with that?
Well, this is theory or speculation, which could be right or wrong, but this war is now happening, and we have to tackle that, and we have to resolve it now. It makes no sense to discuss the past. This has happened. If we had Ukraine as member in NATO, which was applied in 2008, and the Americans gave support to that. The French and the German government were against it. You can again speculate would this war had happened. Ukraine was then a big nuclear power. They were the third biggest nuclear power in the world, and they agreed to get rid of all the nuclear weapons. And thereafter Russia attacked Ukraine. Would this had happened with nuclear weapons on the ground? You can ask the same question again. No, this war is now happening and we have to stop it now. This is our task.
Okay.
And that is also extremely clever. He placed some important information which maybe not everybody knows here in his statement, and he also not argues against Trump or something, because again it's like a little trap. The question was if he thinks that if Trump would be earlier in office there would be a difference. And what he does here is also very clever. He says we have an issue in the present, and it does not make any sense to look to the past. We could also see a different situation. He makes the statement that also in the past, for example, Germany and other European countries were the ones which kept Ukraine out of NATO, and the United States was in favor of it. So he also shows the common history, but also the responsibilities and how they might have been changing through the time of the positions. And he also states something which is very relevant here, that Ukraine in the past de-armed itself for security guarantees of Russia, which were broken afterward. And while giving this important statement here and making the position clear again, he also presents some facts which might not every American or every listener know. If Ukraine would have been or kept stronger, maybe that war would have never been happening. And so somehow he also introduces the way to the solution by rearming Ukraine again or making it strong, so in future a war would not happen. He's giving a very important context to understand the conflict in a better way.
Chancellor, thank you for coming on this program, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for your time.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
And I think that is also something remarkable. Friedrich Merz is risking something here because he goes to a US TV show, and I don't know when last time I have seen a German politician in a US TV show where a lot of things could happen, a lot of questions could be asked, which could bring the person in a very uncomfortable situation. And we also saw that the host here has given Merz some quite challenging questions where he really could have made statements which were afterwards quite uncomfortable. or could be perceived in a very negative way. But he was very elegantly navigating around, made the German or the position of the German government very clear, and also gave some arguments why the position is there in some context information. And I think all in all, like leaving out the political side here, on the communication side, Merz has done a great job. Even if there's a lot about Merz which could be criticized, he seems to be aware of his role right now in the world, that Germany is still one of the most powerful countries in the world because of its economic power and also because of its role in the EU and also in the global network. There is a lot of things where he and his team has done great preparation, because I think was a lot of preparation involved before he went on TV here. He seemed very professional, very calm, very rational, like a statesman dealing with all these questions and also presenting with viewpoints. So I think there is a lot to learn here, and also I think you might now understand the German perspective better. I hope you liked it. If you liked it and you would like to have interesting content like this more in future, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for your attention.